Villa Vieni this way, he came that way. The other guys arguing with, no. He came that way, and you're learning all about you just sitting there with your mouth open. You know, but that revolution changed the whole country. One thing about Villa, you know, we always say the setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback. Before Villa was assassinated, when they took over the country, they had this guy, Francisco Madero. Anybody ever heard of him? He was one of the presidents. He was a president. He was a nice guy, but he was one of the rich guy, landowner types. And Villa liked him. So Villa, they took over, and then Villa went back home to take it easy. In fact, he's hanging out in El Paso on this side of the border sometime, kind of drunkard, like, you know. And then I remember I was in Pomona, that's in California. At the university, it was speaking of the Latino program, and I was talking with the president of La Raza. He was saying, and so just to impress him that I know something about Mexico, and we was talking about the revolution, and he just happened to mention when Madero was killed. I said, so-and-so didn't kill Madero. Huerta did, General Huerta. He argued for a few minutes. I said, no, I'm telling you, Huerta did it. Then what did he do? He said, you're right, Huerta did do it. This is the general. So, after they assassinated him, they give out that people go looking for Pancho Villa. Pancho Villa, when he went back into Mexico, and he just put out the word. The general wants his dorados, that's what he used to call his home folks. Dorados. And they came back, and within a few months, less than a year, he's at the head of 50,000 men going into Mexico City. You talking about some bad folks, man. You know, okay, that's what I done studied. That's all I done studied. That's everywhere, all the time, everywhere. Those took a long period of time. Even did Tom here, Thomas Jefferson. He wrote the Declaration of Independence around 1775 and 1776, right? I think when he died in 1829, his writings were saying you should have a revolution every 20 years. You ever read that? No. Well, because people get funny. That's what he's saying. That's 41 years later. No, is that 41 years? No, it's 53 years later. He's an old man by then when he passed away. The point I'm making is revolution, evolution, transition is not always going to be a quick fix. In our situation, we're in transition. The thing I want to mention about that is the dreamer, visionary type thing. Some people are realists. Most people who work on a job, to get educated, they do that, they're realists. They look at the environment and they said, well, realistically, if I want to make it in this environment the way it's set up, I will do da-da-da-da-da, and I will have reasonable security, maybe, and I have a chance of making it. That's a realist. Most of the people that we see are realists, you know. If a guy, if the government got a Negro hanging upside down, he said, well, you tell on all the other niggas, instead of doing life in prison, we'll get you 6 months and then you can go out on parole. He's a realist. Right? So, well, boss man, don't start me to talking. I tell everything I know, that old right? So, Those are realists. Now, there's a difference between a realist, a dreamer, and an idealist. See, a dreamer feeds off dreams. They're dreamers. They're daydreamers. But now, some of us are practical dreamers. As long for a dreamer, some are dreamers and they can sit and doodle for 40 or 50 years and die with just those dreams. Then you have other dreamers like Walt Disney and all the people. They just dream of Disneyland. You know, and they hook it up. That's a dream. That's a fantasy. All that stuff, Fantasyland and Fantasy Isle, all that stuff come out of their mind. Right? It comes out of their mind. Okay, now. There are also political dreamers too. And I remember when I was in Venezuela. When I was in other parts of South America, I studied about, South America. And the greatest person in South America is a libertador, a liberator, Simon Bolivar. Simon Bolivar was unique. He lived in the province of Venezuela. And when I lived in Venezuela, I got more, when I was in Colombia, I knew about him. But when I was in Venezuela, I got more absorbed about it. And then Hugo Chavez. Remember Hugo Chavez? All the good work he did in South America. And how he took money and he helped all. You know, there's a period of flowering. And that's why the U.S. had to crack down on Venezuela. That's where that cancer, early cancer, comes set in about Hugo Chavez. But because Simon Bolivar was his hero. And that's why he always talked about Bolivarian revolution. But a lot of people don't know Simon Bolivar, nice guy. But Simon Bolivar spent 70,000 miles on horseback. The revolution wasn't over a couple. And his idea was Grand Colombia. Mostly all of South America, especially the top, what they call Venezuela, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, and a couple of more. All of that was Grand Colombia. When he moved from Jump Street to the revolution and it transformed the country, the stuff that you read about history, you know, they got several big mountain ranges. Chairman Mao never went over a mountain range. The generals, the Irish Brigade asked him, because the Irish in that period, the Irish Brigade for Mexico, fought with the Mexicans, and the Irish were impressed by the British, so they wanted to get at everything. It was the Irish Brigade. Simon Bolivar told the Irish Brigade, "You're the only Europeans that ever came here for liberation." So the Irish Brigade, they had to go from one side of the mountains to the other if they was going to make a good hit after the Battle of Boyacá or something. So the Irish general said, it's just like Hannibal crossing the Alps. So no, it's not Hannibal crossing the Alps. He said, these are the Andes. You heard of the Andes Mountains. Shoot, the Andes Mountains get way over 20,000 feet. The Alps don't go up 7,000, 8,000 feet. It ain't nothing. Just like, they marched across the Andes in the wintertime down there. It don't make no difference what time you cross the Andes, because down there they have three levels. They have Tierra Caliente. Tierra Caliente, that's the hot lands. That's from sea level to about 3,000 feet. Then they have Tierra Templada, that's what we like. From about 3,000 feet to about 6,000 or 7,000 feet. Down there, that's good weather. Like if you're in Medellin, it's in South America, but it's 5,000 feet up. So it's 75, maybe 80 degrees, or it's down to about 6. They call it the city of eternal spring because it's in the temperate zone. Then they have Tierra Fria. Tierra Fria is 8, 9, 10,000 feet on up. It's above the tree line. Can you imagine the Andes, crossing the Andes? 22,000 feet. See, they have several tall mountains. Right? The tallest is the Himalayas. The Himalayas, Mount Everest, 29,000 feet. Just Hindu Kush, right along Pakistan, India border, you know, Kashmir, all of that. Hindu Kush, they tall too. But the second highest mountain range in the world is those in South America. And they crossed them. They don't ever tell you. What I'm trying to say is when you read the things they say, he will say things about destiny. This is our time. This is our period. This is our destiny. Da 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 da. And what was good about him was he's the only slave owner. He was a rich slave owner. The only slave owner to ever fight for liberation of everybody. The other thing about Bolivar is he unified. The hindrance to freedom was the same everywhere. They had blacks, all those. They have mulattoes, mixed. They have the mixture of everybody in Indian, and they have the mixture of pure Spanish and Indian. I mean, pure Spanish, yeah, pure Spanish and Indian, which is like you see the standard Mexican and Colombian. And then they have the Spanish, white, European. He had to unify all of them people to fight against Spain, to liberate. When you study those people, and he was assassinated in 1830. The point is that all of those historical periods was for education. When you are idealist and a dreamer, you're also hopefully a realist. But you make your major decisions based on idealism, not on functionalism or realism. So in America, you know, right now, we spent decades supporting our brothers from country 2, as we call it. No, we spent, and for a 10-year period, we spent 95% of our time in the support of the Islamic Republic. I mean, that means they went to school, they might have a program here and a program there, but they have a program. They had that program. It takes them 1 or 2 days to put it together. They pass out flyers, but they're doing that all over the country. I'm spending my whole period. I used to close the Masjid in Oakland, and sometimes when I come back, I have to open the doors and windows because it would be musty. I would be gone a month. But we always kept it semi-functional. Okay, they went back home, most of them. Some stayed here. After a revolution, there's always a division of peoples. During the main part, during Imam's life, everybody had to go with the party line. And there was hardly no deviation from it. Soon as the Imam died, people start wanting to go in their own little directions. Some believed in economy. We got to get back to our economy. We got to build our economy, which is true. The war was devastating on the Iranian economy. Some had to deal with education. We had to desertification to get everything back together. That's all true. Some were in diplomacy. And they thought, this is the main crew right now, the diplomats. I gave a lecture in 1990 on this same subject. And I gave the same lecture 5 years ago, whenever I first bought that van. That must have been about 5 years ago. The van that my ex-wife has, that Dodge van. I guess that's 5 or 6 years ago. In Denver, Colorado. And I told them, and Jim, said, I'm taking over the defense of the Islamic Republic in America. Basically, you guys not doing your job. I told y'all 5, 10, 15 years ago, several times about this diplomacy. And if you're going to deal with America, you have to deal with them with a certain amount of discipline. You also have to deal with them so you don't make these dirty deals. Now, I understand the deal they made. They made what was a reasonable deal. They had Camp Ashraf in Iraq. And Saddam Hussein was alive. Saddam Hussein allowed the Munafiqeen cult, the Mujahideen, to operate out of Iraq. These are brutal murderers and killers, man. Communist types, you know. The staunchest enemies of the Islamic Republic. So Saddam Hussein supported them. Of course, they were against Iran. We call them munafiqs. But in recent years, when they want to make love, or whatever they was making, with the United States, the United States tells them certain things. We can't, but here's a trade-off. This guy, abdul-alim Musa, maybe they didn't tell him this, has energized you guys, have kept you unified and focused for all of this time. We know what he was doing. You know what he was doing too. You went to every place. He knew you was here by yourself. And we said all of these things. He also knew that every one of them phony Shias that was up next to y'all was rotten and low down and a government agent. Clear. Not only that, we told them that. You know what I mean? This is clear. It ain't no... and that every one of them, even the ones you see running around now, every big meeting that we had around the country for the unity of the Islamic movement in North America, those Negroes sabotaged every meeting. By 85, was it 87? Up in Canada, they want me to come, the Iranian brothers. I said, I'm not coming to the meeting. I ain't coming to the meeting. Why? Because every one of the Negroes, I don't care what people think about them, I know what they do. Every last one of them, whether it was the Negroes from Panama, whether it was the Negroes from a couple of other islands, a few of the islands was good. Especially Imam Yassin Abu Bakr. He was good, but he was on his own move. He's a good brother. All the Negroes inside the United States, them coons subverted. They were all, and Imam Khomeini would send a representative to every one of those big conferences, and on the side, we were supposed to work out the agenda for North America. The only thing they demanded is a unified approach. They didn't want to have me and I. They didn't want to help them and their little group. They didn't want to help no individual. They wanted us to be, which it takes. The Negroes would not do it. You could plead with them. You could threaten them. It wouldn't make no difference. They was determined not to have none, and you never could get it, and you could explain it to them, and I just realized what it was. These niggas is the police. I don't care what everybody else, they can love them, they can give speeches now. I just look at them like they're crazy. I know who they are. I know what their behavior. It's not accidental. You see what I mean? It's not accidental. So, over that long period of years, right? Number one, no unified approach. So, you kind of have to go for yourself. You know, you have to do what you have to do what you can do. So they had the Iranians surrounded. When we came into this, we already got the game on the COINTEL program. We already, you know, we 20 years off into the struggle. They didn't know, you know what I mean? We already got the Euro down pat and everything. We already into the, you know what I mean? That's why we're able to protect them. We're able to help them. Most of them appreciated it too, more than what, so some approach, go back 20 years, was, well, what would you like? So, I said, I didn't do this for money. Now the street prayer, he got a house, a nice house in a Jewish neighborhood. I could have the same thing, I could have anything I want. What I didn't tell him was, this is for your protection, this is for mine. Number one, I ain't gonna let, when I come by with my box, I'm gonna fundraise from everybody, not just from you. So, you know what I mean? If you follow the trend. Number two is a protection for you. Because you're not supporting da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And nobody can say Imam Musa supports you because you pay him or you da-da-da-da. Right? You can't do it. They can't do it then, they can't do it now. Okay?
Which has been said.
Well, when they say that, okay, you see anybody, do you see us get any money from any, hey man, we hustle, we go out, we scrape change together, and that's the way we've always did. Yeah. But the people will, see, they can say anything they want. F them in they behind with a big black D-I-C-K. I don't care nothing about them bitch, them niggas, those people. I don't care nothing about them. Because they say anything they want to do. Okay, we know what's going on. See, this is a big deal in the world. And the world knows the position. Look at the global situation. Everything Iran prayed for, they got. Margbag America, death to America. Hey man, anybody don't see America heading down? Okay, forget it, you just can't see. Margbag America, Margbag Shoravi, death to Russia. Russia not only died, but it revived on the outside. Margbag Shoravi, Margbag Israel, death to Israel. Israel is so brutal, it's so ridiculous, it's just a matter of time. The export of the revolution, that was part of the platform. Export of the revolution. And at every conference for the last couple of years, I done told the Shia community this. Allah has already blessed you with leadership. Number one, the revolution has exceeded all expectations. Not only it survived. Remember, that was a big, if we could just survive, that'll be big. With a war an 8-year war with everybody on one side against one country. And the only country, Arab country, that wasn't against it was Syria. Okay? All of the expectations of the revolution in Iran has not only, it's been exceeded. So Iran, right now, is the most stable country in the region. When you go there, and hey man, not only stable, but it's on a roll in agriculture and production. Who else produces their own cars in the region? Them, that's it. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, although they don't produce anything. Iran is a manufacturing giant in the region. The Iranian military, don't nobody want to mess with the military. They just don't want to mess with the military. The Iranian military moved in, they say, I know they wouldn't do it, into Iraq and was whooping us. Why do you think the U.S. is such a, those Iranians are, what do you mean it's Iranians? Those are Arabs, of course, you know, right on the border there, and Arabstan, that's what they call it in Iran. How you gonna tell Arab from this side of the street, how you gonna tell a nigga from Virginia or Maryland, Southern Maryland, Northern, how you gonna tell? They both say murder. They both sound the same. How you gonna tell? Right over there. The nigga that live over here in D.C. and the nigga live in Virginia and the nigga live right there in Sea Pleasant. How you know? When they talk, you can't tell the difference. Their attitude is the same. How you gonna tell an Iranian from Arabstan, right, and an Iranian from Iraq? They live about 2 blocks away from each other, right? How you gonna, they live across the river, this side of the river, Shatt al-Arab, right? Anyway, man, Iran is blessed. It's a blessed country, it's really blessed. And it has a mission. This is what I always try to tell them, especially the last few. I say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given you a mission. And have given Ahlul Bayt a mission. I said, Allah does that all the time. I said, we as African Americans, during our period, we messed up our mission, but we still spread discipline, love, and joy, and Martin Luther Kingism, Malcolm X, and them all around the world, right? They're still talking about it now. We joined in with the whole global transition, decolonization, civil rights, black liberation, all of that, right? And we was half-stepping. Allah give the minority a lot of times a great mission. We didn't do too bad. Well, you didn't finish it. So what? The hell, the white man got COINTEL program 1, 2, and 3, and after he knocked the main people, everybody else, when I tell people overseas, well, Minister so-and-so, the National Negro, I said, the National Negro, I said, we call that nigga the National Negro. He's over 80 years old and ain't did nothing yet. If you 80 years old and haven't did nothing but kiss behind and misdirect people, you know it's hard to change when you get past 40 or 50. This nigga is 80 years old. More than that. Now, right, he's 82.
Justice or else. So what is the else part?
Shoot, the white man said, else what? Well, we gonna pray on you. We gonna, you know what I mean?
God.
Yeah, else God gonna get you, you know. But see, the stuff we've been dealing with, COINTEL program did a lot of damage to everybody. Communist Party, if they had 30,000 members, the literature says 15,000 of the people who was government agents. The same thing with us. I tell them, yeah, we got good black leadership. I said, which one? Tell me one. Just one. Well, the guy who wears the bandana around his throat can't hardly talk. I said, Cornel West, that nigga, that's a government nigga. What about Jesse Jackson? I'm a government nigga. What about that? I said, I'm government niggas. What about? I say, every last one of them niggas is government niggas. All of them, everybody we got. I said, they kill us off or you a government nigga, that's all.
And they just like our immigrant brothers.
Right.
They don't have no money problems.
No, they don't have no money problem. You know what I mean?
Never.
So, no, here's the thing. The main thing is today, it may not seem like it, but it's the Islamic Republic. So, this will be one of the last times that we're not going to call names about this issue. But see, there's a person that we call Muawiyah Johnny. You can't figure out who that is. Muawiyah Johnny. And if you can figure out who Muawiyah Johnny is, just think about who Muawiyah is and figure out something that rhymes with that. Anyway, here's the whole deal. We don't hear nothing. I don't even remember a program in America that talked, the Shia program, that talked about Vilayat al-Faqih. The Shias around here, Negroid, whoever, they don't focus on it. Focusing on rituals. If you just focus on a ritual, you're a Sunni ritualist or you're a Shia ritualist. Same, you can mix them up. They just focusing on rituals. All that old, what happened 1,400 years ago, Imam Khomeini said, Sunni be more Sunni, Shia be more Shia. That way you'll get back to the original. All of the programs during the 80s and 90s were focused on wahda, on unity, on cooperation, not on what happened before. That's what made Imam Khomeini. A lot of Shias thought Imam Khomeini was a closet Sunni. Because if you look at a lot of his writings, Imam's 40 hadith, they seem just like reading Imam Ghazali, just like that. So a lot of them, until when Imam passed and he left his will. And the main point of his will, he said to hold on to the two taqas, al-Faqih. He said hold on to those two, so that let everybody know. You work with everybody. You be friendly. Don't try to